Not yet. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Not yet. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Not yet. Yes, whose hand is up? I can see someone is raising a question. Any clarification you want to make? Hello? Any clarification you want to make? Hello? I've seen someone's hand up. Any Can you please raise your question? That one, whose hand is up? Can you see my screen? Hello? Can you see my I said that one of the alternatives, now prototyping as the system alternative, development alternative is that it uses an approach in a way that you develop what we normally call a prototype, like a sample or a sketch of the ODP system that you are going to be using. In this case, you are going to call on all the ODP members who are going to be using the system, and maybe some of your developers, those who are going to be part of your development team. Then you request each and every of the ODP system, how you think that the system should look like and how it should be operating. Then you sit down as a team, you discuss each and every person's sketch or alternative, then until you agree on a given alternative that you feel that you will be able to bring out exactly what you want to come up with in that particular system you're trying to develop. So that process of coming up with those samples is what we call prototyping. So that is the process of developing a system by coming up with sketchy systems which are normally improved on until you come up with the final system that you want to use. So this approach normally is looked at as one of the best that it gives a feel of how the system is going to look like, and it gives every person ownership of the system that is being developed. Because once you you are part of the development team of what you are developing, it ensures that at least each and every person will be able to understand and be able to use the system without any the other thing is normally cheaper because you use the cheap material like the paper and other material that will be available to you to come up with those sketches that you keep on improving until you come up. So those sketch things are what we call the prototypes, the sample system that you develop. We have them as prototypes, and then the process of coming up with those samples until you come up with what we call the proof of the final system is what we call prototyping. It could either be using paper prototype, or we could use the software to develop those samples. So what normally people normally do, they would use the paper-like sampling or prototype because it is cheaper and available to each and every person understand what is being done. So that's done in phases, one after the other, and then at every part, you all have to come out. Like if you talk about designing, you all design the interface that the way you feel that the interface should look like. Then everybody will design, then you sit down and discuss it. Maybe if you're talking about a database, you design database and everybody brings this database, then you agree on which is the best database you are going to be using within what? Within your system. So you keep on doing that until you come up with the final system. So that's alternative number one. Alternative number two is what we call incremental system development. Incremental system development works in a way that you, as the owner of the system, you agree on what is going to be the most important, very important part first. Communication. You want to be able to capture all the students' details without talking about their issues to do with their performance, to do with their papers. That's what the farmer data say, but what you want to do, and I be able to capture their details as they come in my, maybe when they're doing the admission or doing the capture, those the information as they come in. So that will be your first part that you feel that is very important. So you tell the developer,
so we are not
that bit first. Once it's done, he's going to deliver that part into your organization. Now all the other parts.
Someone seeing your screen, please share.
That are going to talk about the part of the resource management. Hence the name of what incremental information system work. So every part that is finished to be developed is the organization.
But we aren't seeing anything. We're seeing nothing. I know. You're talking, but you aren't seeing anything on our screen.
Whose hand is up? What's your question?
I can't see anything. I'm not seeing anything on my screen. I'm hearing you talk, but I can't see anything on my screen.
I've not displayed anything explaining the concepts. Do you want to see or do you want to listen? Man, what do you want to see or do you want to listen to what I'm talking?
Both.
I've not displayed anything. You're not seeing anything. So, but I'm explaining what you need to understand than seeing what you want to see. Is it okay, gentlemen? So I think let's move on. Any other clarification you want? Yes, whose hand is up? What's your question? Hello? If you're done with your question, it's better you put down your hands and you don't disturb the rest. Okay, someone is asking, he wants more clarification about the incremental approach.
Right.
The incremental approach, I've said, it works in a way that you discuss with your developer what is the most important part of the system that you want to develop. So during the process of developing the system, the developer is going to begin with that important part of the system first. Please, can you by making noise for us? Mute your mics. Mute your mics. Those who are discussing, Lane, Roj, can you please mute your mics? You are making noise for us. If you're not part of the class, you can get off the platform and for us we can continue with our class. Roj, mute your mic so you can be able to move on with our class, or you can get off the platform because you are making noise and you're not listening to us and you're making other people also miss out what they need. Can you please mute your mic, Roj? Then what's your question?
So,
okay,
my issue is still about the screen. You're not seeing anything on my screen. I would love to attend the lecture, but
is there anybody who is seeing the screen? I told there's no screen on your screen. So if you want to see the screen, you wait for the screen to come, but you can stop listening if you don't want to listen to what I'm talking about. I said there's no screen that is displayed, but I'm explaining the concept. So if your intention is only to have the screen, that's why you're making noise for us. You get off the platform, you get back when the screens are back. Because there's no screen displayed, so you want to keep on making noise for the rest of the day. You said that that's your main issue that you want to persist on until the screen is on. So if you don't want to see, rather you don't want to listen to what is going on, we are kind of requesting that you can be off in the meantime. When the screen comes back, you will come back. But there's no screen as of now that is displayed. So someone who wanted a clarification on incremental. I said that when you're developing a system using this method, this is what you are going to be doing. You tell the developer can you please mute your mic? Who knows this part? Because we are interrupted. Okay, let me repeat and move on. Let's move on now. Please, if you are not communicating to the class, I'm kind of requesting that you unmute your mic, rather mute your mic, so that we don't get disrupted from your noise that is coming from your background. Or incremental, more clarification about the incremental. I said that for incremental, you discuss with your developer the most important parts that you want to develop for your system. You agree on those parts. I was giving you an example. Take an example. If you want to develop a system like a school or a management information system. So as the owner of the system, you may think that being able to capture the information from the student is one of the most important part that you want to involve for your system. So you tell the developer, I told you that time, when you're developing a system, we're developing what call modules. They are going to be what you want to get from what? From the system. So what you do will be simple. You discuss with your developer what are those most important parts. So I give you an example. If it is a school, you would say, I want to begin by being able to information from this. You tell the developer you start using that part as is developing the other parts of the system. Take an example, developing the information for report management. We'll be talking about maybe talking about possibly the financial management. Now we'll be working on all those issues, then you'll be able to deliver them. As he finishes them, then you'll be able to deliver them to what? To you afterwards. So that's what we are making. That's what every part that is delivered is taken as an increment. Hence the name what we term as the incremental system development. So say Mwanga, can you make me the co-host? Say, can I do something for you? Say Mwanga, make me the co-host. I can help you out for something. So that's how the co-host is going to be, rather the incremental is going to be coming in place. And one of the benefits for this method is that there's no way the developer and the owner are going to make the project of developing the system fail, because at a certain point, all of you would have gone a little bit like you would have paid some money, and even the developer would have dropped some part of the system. So in that way, so chances of a system failure to be developed are going to be very low. In all cases, benefit is the part of your system is going to be delivered fast. Every time a new part is added onto that system, you are going to be having retesting of the system, meaning that your most important part of the system is going to be having a number of tests that will make it free of error in its operation, which will make it perfectly working without what? Without errors. And then also there's that bit of that you'll be able to master the system, because by the time you finish up the entire system, you would have mastered all the parts of the system that you have in your so that's what we term as incremental system development. Then we'll go to the second bit is development. With rapid application development, it works in a way that the entire system, leave alone this part we talked about of increments, but you want the entire system to be working as fast as what? As fast as possible. So intention would be to get someone who can put things together for some bit of for a short period of time, then it makes sure that you are able to use the system as fast as possible. So in other words, you skip some of the steps that you go through when you're developing a system to ensure that the system is put in place as fast as what? As fast as possible. This approach is normally used in cases whereby you have maybe a donor who is coming in, maybe they gave you money and you are taking on without developing a system, and you want to show them the working system. So what you will do is to ensure that someone puts up a system which is functional in all areas, much as will not be concretely performing, but you have something in place. So that approach is normally termed as the rapid application development. So it is normally used in such areas where you want things to work as fast as possible. Then afterwards, you can review the system to correct there would be errors within the system, ensure that now the system can perform effectively. So that's what we normally have as what? Rapid application development. Then you have another one which is called another approach that you can use when you're developing information system. You could also use what we call the spiral.
And I'm going to sleep.
Can you please mute? So I was saying that the next approach is what we call the spiral. The spiral system development approach works in a way that we assume that each and every part of your system, you want to develop a system in a way that it assumes a circular scenario with 4 parts. The first part is going to be having the specification. The other part will be the design. Then you shall have another part which is engineering. And then the other part is going to be the review. So what happens is that in the first stage, if you develop the system in the first case, in the first round, you go through all those rounds, and you feel that the system is not perfectly working the way you want it to be working, you will go through the same stages, all the stages again, to rectify all those bits that you assume that are in your system. So until you feel that now all the system you have built is perfect, okay, that's when now you can deliver the system, the intended what? The intended recipient. So it is normal assumes a circular scenario with 4 parts because it's the circle divided into 4. The first part is specification, design, engineering, and then about the review. So at the end of the review, if you feel that everything is okay, you deliver. If it's not okay, you repeat the cycle, going through all the stages until you come up with the final one. A chance of advancement, and make sure that by the time you deliver, you've perfectly collected all the would-be mistakes within what? Within your system. So that's another approach you can use in developing your information system. Then the next approach, which is also not what we termed as the system development life cycle, is what we call the component-based system development. When you're developing systems, as I said earlier, they are like modules. These modules are like parts within the system. We take them as parts or modules. So each module is taken as a component within what? Within the system. And even some of the things you may use like an interface component of within your system. So you may find that in your development you're going to be picking these components from various sources, or you may redesign your own components depending on the need of what you are trying to develop. So maybe if you copy that component from somewhere, what you are going to be doing is that you must check out and see, does it match with the system you are developing? If maybe everything is fine, then you can incorporate it within your system. If certain things are not fine, then you can remodify that particular system, rather that particular component, then you can add it to the other components of what? Of your system. So afterwards, you try to see how do you incorporate all of them together so they can work out as a single system. So that approach whereby you are developing by looking out for various components or modules which you put together to come up with your final system is what we normally term as the component-based information system system development. Of course, there are a number of stages that you have to go through as you redefine or redevelop these components or modify these components. But of course, what you need to know at this level is that you just have to understand how does it work. It works by looking at various components from other sources, or you redevelop your own components, which you combine together to come up with the final system to use for your organization. So that's another approach you could use also to come up with a better working system. Then method you could use joint development, which you know my term as JAD, joint application development. Now with JAD, as the word is joint, and this time, like in other prototyping, you may be all developers, and a few maybe of your stakeholders may choose to come and give you a few guidance that you need. But with JAD, you the developer and the stakeholders, the owners of the system, you are going to be working together from the start up to the end of your system. And we are going to assume that at all times, we are all at the same level. We understand things are in the same way. So you as the technical person, you only be guiding the other people, but they will be working together in the development of what? Of your system. So you join up, and each person is going to bring ideas on how to develop the system and how best to have a final working system. So that approach whereby you come together, the stakeholders and then the developer, and you keep on developing your system from start up to the end. That approach is termed as the joint application development, which is normally abbreviated as JAD. So these approaches can be picked depending on what is the best approach that you want to make sure that you are going to be using. But in all approach that you are going to be using, these days you are using what we call a user-centered development. That in all cases you must have your users' needs first before you can develop the system. That's what you call user-centered. That your development is based on the needs of the users, not your own needs as a developer. Otherwise, you develop based on your needs, you end up actually disorganizing the entire development, because the users may not be able to understand what exactly you are trying to look at or try to do within your information system. So that's what you can do within your development. Okay, so those are the approaches that you can use when you are trying to develop your information system. So any clarification before you can move on to something else? Yes? Yes, Chidiowa.
One.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. My question is,
Linux.
user-centered also part of the system development approaches?
And no. User-centered, actually, it is the general approach you are using in developing software. It's a general concept.
Karama ikoje mutekino why tu?
The general concept you are using.
Me uchakara muyazinga ho.
In other words, that
Kaja
whatever method you are going to be using, you should have it made that you are developing for the users, so they should be at the center of the development in order to have a better working system. That's why it is termed as user-centered kind of work, but it's just a concept that we are using, but not an approach.
Oh. Thank you.
Okay, okay. You're welcome. Any other clarification to put before we can proceed? Okay, fine. As I told you when I was starting that we have two parts of this discussion. The first part was to do with system development, which we have now covered. Then the other part was to do with the project management. Is it okay? That was the second part of our discussion that we are supposed to cover in this area. So now I'm done with that part of system development. Now I'm going to look at the other second part, which is information system project management. How do you manage a project that is you are going to be under? Because I told you the information system development is like a project you are undertaking. So you must know all the concepts on how best you can manage that process in order to ensure that it's delivered in time. Because I told you that software development must be delivered in time because technology keeps on changing. The moment you delay, it would mean that at the end of it, by the time you finish up your development, technology would have changed, and that would mean that you can no longer be able to use that same software because it doesn't fit in the current technology. That's why we normally look at it as an actual project whereby you must follow all the procedures of having a properly working system. So let's now try to understand that other part of software information system project management. How do you manage a software project? So my question is, how would you define a project in your own understanding? How do you define a project? Any ideas? Who can define for us a project? Hello?
Nkeji ni keyboard kuzata muguri bwa hashtag bwa nankeji no byankai buri bwa
people are sending in the chats very funny things. Can you please desist from that? This chat is for discussion that is what we are discussing, not discussing the nonsense many of you are trying to put in the chat. And I'm wondering if you are studying or you are just busy making the nonsense chatting. So mind on what you are putting on the chat. If you are not ready to study, then you get off the platform and then you make your discussion through your WhatsApps than wasting our chat with the nonsense that you are feeding in there. If you're discussing your personal things, then don't put them on our chat because we are now in the academic process. We are learning, not just making fun as many of you are doing. So resist from that. We are not here for joking. So I'm asking a question. Once the project and someone is saying funny things that we are use manya, what we are doing. So can you please answer my question than saying that nonsense you're putting in the chat? So I'm seeing messages coming. Use these things that are coming on the chat. You put on the platform, but not all those funny things that you are trying to raise on the chat. Those who are chatting their personal discussions, push them onto your WhatsApp and discuss them from there. Okay, let's get back to the business. My question is, I said that software development is like a project that you want to undertake. And if you don't handle it properly, you'll be able to fail out because by the time you finish up your project development, possibly technology has changed and your software is not no longer useful. And my question was, how would you define the term project? In the normal sense, how would you define that? Anybody who has an idea? Ideas? Okay, now boss, you are saying that a project is defined as a sequence of tasks. That must be completed to attain a certain outcome. A project is a specific plan or design. Those are not very far from the truth, by the way. And then, okay, yeah, that's a good start. Yes, like what Nabo was meant about Uganda have a name. I thought you use good names. These funny names you're using. I don't know why you're using those funny. Are you criminals that you're using those funny names? Your definition is that Nabo, I don't know who you are anyway. And I'd say that funny name is a good one. If you look at what you're calling a project, in the first place, you must have a well streamlined series of activities you are going to be carrying out. And the intention of carrying out those activities is going to be, you want to achieve a given objective or a given outcome as she has stated. And your main intention here is to ensure that this objective you are trying to finish up should be accomplished within a specified period of time.
Lecture that was host ya ending a meeting. Oh, hey guys, streaming on YouTube live. The host ended the meeting. I think we are going to have it again in a while. So I don't know what to do right now. The host has ended the meeting. So really, I don't know what to do.